Hello and welcome to Gadabout United and a video on another United legend in 5 minutes or less. The 1970s were a bittersweet time for United. At the beginning of the decade we had a slew of disappointing successors to Sir Matt and had to say goodbye to the Holy Trinity one by one. But by its end we had an exciting young team that had won the cup and had come close to the title after bouncing straight back up after relegation heartbreak. In the centre of that revitalisation was a northern lad who was brought on board to give the fans something to cheer for again and lift the club out of the malaise that had seen it fall into the second division. A goal scorer and fan favourite who loved their adulation as much as they loved to see him raise his fist in triumph after hitting the back of the net. Here he is, the one and only Stuart Pancho Pearson. And don't forget to let me know about your memories of Pancho in the comments below. As the Red Devils slipped ignominiously into the second division in late April '74, the board still backed manager Tommy Docherty to bring the club right back up again at the first attempt. With that in mind, the Doc arguably never made a better signing than striker Stuart Pearson. In an era of tough tackling and poor pitches, Pearson was a skillful asset for United who could not only take it and put himself about a bit, but was a linchpin in the attack, creative, making goals and most importantly scoring. The soon-to-be fan favourite, who was just short of his 25th birthday, signed for United in a deal estimated to be worth £200,000 from Hull City, with United reserve Peter Fletcher moving in the other direction. Pearson soon gained the nickname Pancho by Tommy Doc, due to his resemblance to a former United player from the late 50s, early 60s, and namesake Mark Pearson, who was originally given the name Pancho after a local journalist reported that he looked like a Mexican bandit. The 1970s Pearson had arrived at Old Trafford sporting a moustache and sideburns. Despite spending all of his career in the second division at Hull, being a local lad from nearby Cottingham, Pearson managed better than a goal every 3 games for the Tigers. On top of that, he was well built, skillful and worked tirelessly hard, attributes that the Doc probably knew he needed in the man that was going to lead the line, as United would have to do their fair share of graft as well as flair to get out of the second tier. If you ask any United fan who was blessed to have watched the Tommy Doc era, they would have told you about free-flowing football, brilliant wing play and a glut of goals, albeit occasionally coming at the expense of the defence. And that was reflected in the crowd size and travelling support, a real Red Army in the truest sense of the term, which matched any top-flight side and dwarfed many of the others. Pancho was at the heart of that attacking flair, and topped United's scorers list with 19 goals in his debut season. Thanks to Pearson's and Lou Macari's goals, the Red Devils got themselves promoted at the first attempt, accounting for well over half the side's tally. As you can see, the second division title was narrowly won from League Cup winners that season, Aston Villa, when it was just 2 points for a win. Pearson adapted to top-flight football flawlessly. With him leading the line, United played like they'd never been away, and he was a leading contributor with just 1 goal fewer than Macari that season. The former Hull man's unselfish play and his brilliance with his back to goal allowed Macari to score freely, and the same could be said for the 2 dynamic wingers, Steve Coppell and the newly acquired Gordon Hill. United started the season back in the top flight spectacularly, but unfortunately would end up third, as Liverpool won the title by 2 points from QPR and 4 points from the Red Devils. A win at Anfield and a draw at Loftus Road was the difference between third place in the Championship that season for United. Pancho helped United to get to Wembley that year too, but the boys lost against underdogs second division Southampton in a game the Red Devils had dominated early on but failed to finish gilt-edged chances that they would rue at the final whistle. The purchase of Jimmy Greenough in the following season in November '76 saw both him and Pancho flourish. Their almost telepathic double act saw them combine for 31 goals, with Pearson getting 19, as well as contribute greatly to Merlin Gordon Hill's 22 strikes. The 76-77 season would be a glorious one, a terrific cup run which saw the gratifying revenge against holders Southampton in the 5th round, also put pay to the likes of Villa and Leeds in the preceding rounds, leaving Liverpool in the final, the only obstacle between Pancho's United and glory. Liverpool, who were chasing the treble, were favourites of course, but United had the added pressure of breaking the Doc's Wembley jinx, and putting the previous year's final loss behind them. However, it was Stuart Pearson who drew first blood, striking his early shot on the volley after the ball had been headed on into his path by Jimmy Greenough. Pancho's ability to skillfully and cleverly not allow the ball to bounce was what got the better of Clements in the Liverpool goal. Despite an instant equaliser, it was Pearson's telepathic twin, Jimmy Greenough, who deflected in Lou Macari's wayward shot for the winner, which broke Liverpool hearts on the treble and also, finally, earned Tommy Doc a much-deserved cup win. Pearson proved he was a big-game player and earned that famous old trophy as much as anyone for his work over those 3 seasons, and he deservedly revelled in it. Pearson was rewarded for his fine performances in United's first season back in the top flight after promotion, with a call-up to the England squad by Don Revie. Stuart was unfortunate to have had his chance over the 3 troubled years of Revie's reign, and the fact that injuries from 1979 onwards cut short his club appearances knocked onto the national team. That said, Pancho scored a very credible 5 times in 15 appearances for the 3 Lions, including World Cup qualifiers, as well as friendlies versus Argentina and West Germany. Unfortunately, with Revie turning his back on a failing England for petrodollars in 1977, the United marksman wouldn't get many more chances to pull on that England shirt, and wasn't part of the side that qualified for a World Cup or Euros in a really poor era for the national team. The departure of Tommy Docherty soon after the 77 final for personal reasons changed the whole nature and culture of the club as the more pragmatic Dave Sexton took up the reins. That, coupled with the aforementioned knee problems, saw this as the beginning of the end for Pancho at Old Trafford. Despite being second top scorer again with 15 strikes in the 77-78 season, the campaign after that saw the Yorkshireman miss almost the entire season, only making a mere 2 FA Cup appearances as United reached Wembley again, losing the 79 Cup final to Arsenal without Pancho. With that niggling knee injury curtailing his playing time, now United boss Dave Sexton decided that it was a good time to cash in and move the Yorkshireman on, much to Pancho's dismay and frustration. Second Division West Ham came in for the popular Old Trafford forward, much to the disappointment of the Stretford End faithful, who had by this time fallen in love with their fist-pumping striker. However, what was Man United's loss was ultimately West Ham United's gain, as Pancho moved in the summer of 79 for £220,000 to East London. In his first season, Stuart Pearson helped himself and his new employers to an FA Cup success, scoring in the semi-final and having his cross shot in the final end up being turned in by Trevor Brooking against holders Arsenal. However, in his second season, once again his knee injury led to him only make part-time appearances as West Ham got promoted. With just 9 games over 2 campaigns, Stuart Pancho Pearson was forced to retire from the game in 1982, aged just 33. After playing, Pearson became a coach of several clubs in the Midlands and the North, including caretaker manager of West Brom for a time. Now in his 70s, I'm reliably informed that he's happy to sign autographs and pose for pictures at the Red Cafe a few hours before kick-off on match day. But make sure you call him Pancho, and not Stuart. He'd prefer that. There's an old saying, you should never meet your heroes, but sometimes that's wrong, as he's as nice a person as you'd like to meet, humble and unassuming. So what are your memories of Pancho? Please comment below and like, share and subscribe. As always, thank you for your support.